It's our job to empower them to learn that and to have their families know what they can do too. So I think it's just seeing the kids do something that they could not do before. That's really the best part of it.
A lot of it is working with their teachers and their parents to work on these skills. So you're kind of training across the board. So you're not just working with the kids, you're seeing that real-time progress with their families and helping them work on issues at home, but also at school. And you kind of get that like real-time follow-up with them of things that are working, things that aren't working, and you get to see the growth pretty quickly. I think we go to school thinking that there's one really specific definition of what being a special education teacher is. And I didn't even know that this existed when I was going through school. And I never thought I would want to do this until I kind of just took the leap and tried it. But it's a really special way to be able to impact young children with special needs, as well as impacting the families of the children, as opposed to them just coming in and sitting in our rooms all day. You're working with the families and you're out in the communities and you're like a big part of the community that you're serving in.
Like a preschool or daycare environment, we're providing a lot of support to the teachers to help them work through any challenges that the kiddo's having in that environment. In the home, we're developing a really cool relationship where we can provide support to the parents, caregivers, and even to older siblings we can work with to help the child be more successful in their home environment.
So many wonderful people that want to help these kids too, so they're open for your suggestions, and you get to be more social.
One of the things I love about working for the Allegheny Intermediate Unit, and specifically PEI, is that you have a chance to change. You're not stuck with being a classroom teacher as you would within a school district per se. You know, an itinerant position is very different than a classroom position, and they each have their, strengths and what makes them unique. I've experienced both of those.
We have a really special job that not everyone really understands, and going through a lot of it together and learning together and adapting together really brings us close. Like a lot of these places, we're going in and seeing the same families, so we bond over, hey, so-and-so did this today. Can you believe that? We're talking on the phone, we're texting all the time. So I think it really is a unique situation that kind of forces you to be close with who you're working with so that you can kind of collaborate and do what's best for the child.
It's a good support system. Like, we all know what we're going through, and we all know that it's a lot of work, and we're all willing to just answer questions for each other. And like, the support group is something that I haven't seen even when I was a classroom teacher. There's just a lot of ways that we help each other, and you don't get that like in other places. And it's just, there's nobody trying to get ahead of anybody. It's just a real welcoming community. I love who I work with. Like, that's why I stay. Sometimes it really does get hard, but the support from the supervisors, the support from just the speech therapists, the occupational therapists that you work with, the other special ed teachers in your area, like, we all know what this job entails.
I may not have been the one to do it for him, and it may not be all me, but I'm a small part of that kid's story, and that's a phrase I use with like a lot of the parents.
They make progress a lot faster. You get to see a lot more change. You get to kind of help them integrate into their early childhood programs where otherwise they might not be successful. So that's the main reason I like this younger age.
I've always been very interested in teaching younger kids. I thought I always wanted to be a kindergarten teacher, and then I found out about preschool early intervention, and I just love being the first teacher that a student gets and getting to see the changes they make during those first couple of years when they're just learning how to function. Just getting to see the smiles on their faces when you tell their parents, hey, they mastered this, or they're starting to do this and they thought it would never happen. And getting to see them grow over the 3 years that I have them, it's always super fun to see how far they come.
it's worth it. You know you're making a difference. And, you know, I treat every student of mine as if it was a child of my own. If it was my child, I have 3 children, if it was my child, I would want that person who's supporting them to put their heart and soul into them. And so that's what I do. And I've had families share with me their feelings of how I was that person. That means the world to me, because I did make a difference. And you can make a difference in this job.
It's extremely rewarding. I actually just got chills thinking about it. I have some families from 5-10 years ago that I still am in contact with. It's really cool to see how talking to mom, talking to dad, talking to grandma can really help enrich the child's life.
You just get to touch so many different people and show them that when we all work together, it really makes a difference.
Still very routine based, because that's where our kids thrive the most. So we spend, some of our time playing, and then we really try to target communication and social skills like the most in our classroom, because most of the time that's what most of our kids need the most.
An itinerant teacher has a caseload of students that they service within the community. So you have children that you may see in the home, childcares, preschools, and those sorts of environments within the community itself. So you travel. Also, itinerants have groups that come to you. So in that regard, like a service provider location, if it's a speech therapist, if you will, they may have a speech-only speech group, but it's a little bit different. You're not doing the same exact thing every day where you're going to the same 4 walls. You kind of make your own schedule. You're coaching community providers into implementing those IEPs for child success. Our neediest right now, our neediest kiddos, and they thrive on routine. So it's very structured and very purposeful. We have in my classroom a very large matrix on the wall that has our schedule and all of the children's IEPs and where those goals are embedded within the routine. So we come in, we have our bin times where we're working on individual goals in a small group fashion where they're at the table. And then we transition over to our meeting time, which is, what historically circle time would be. We work on a variety of skills there. We have our movement time, our gross motor time, our small group times, and then free play, which is the biggest portion of our day where we're embedding those IEP goals and learning within the child-led moments. We have snack time where that's a really, really key time for children to work on that communication. They're most motivated, if you will, by food, right? Aren't we all? So we're really honing in on that requesting using assistive technology during that time. And then we have a little group time at the end before we dismiss. Every single routine, every minute of our day is purposeful.
So I would say my week kind of does vary from week to week, but I typically stay around the Plum area. Sometimes I go into the Riverview area as well. I have about 50 kids I see throughout the week, so about maybe 7 to 10 kids per day. And I mainly go into different preschools in that area. So a typical day for me looks like maybe visiting 1 to 2 preschools, maybe 3 to 4 preschool classrooms in the preschool, and then also some home kids. In the preschools, I typically just go in and kind of do whatever the educational teacher's doing and kind of just fit right in right there and kind of bend my activities based on what they're doing.
Getting them to work on those skills of requesting and being able to functionally communicate with not only us, but their peers as well. It's very flexible and it's fun, but definitely still working towards all of their goals.
We work really hard to embed instruction in everyday routines, and we're really educating those community partners with how to do that effectively, not only for our children that are identified as having an IEP, but their entire classroom, really.
Most of the time, whenever you're going through like your teacher program, they talk about like school districts and like school age, but there's so many intermediate units that are around. I mean, the AIU serves a big variety of different locations, and I would say just keep your eyes open for different opportunities. A classroom isn't always just inside of a school district building. It could be a PEI classroom, it could be anything. Just really do your research, get out there, and just kind of, if you like working with, little kids and you want to see like what it's like to be their first teacher, I would definitely say to just try to get out there and see about PEI.
It is a learning curve because, when you're working with little kids, you have to be flexible. So you can have a great idea in your head, but it just does not go that way at all. So, and that's okay. And, that took me a little bit of time to be like, oh, that's okay. It doesn't always have to go as you expected it. So I definitely would say, being flexible is really important.